Got it.
And it looks like we are indeed live.
Bleh. Okay.
I just want to, boy, there's a delay though. Okay, anyhow, I think we're live, so good enough for me. Yep. Okay. So, okay, I'm going to hit the record button.
Recording in progress.
And hit it anytime you're ready there, Ray.
All right. And 5, 4, 3, 2. On today's episode of Video Marketing Madness, we're going to discuss how you can use YouTube to help your business grow. Seriously. And of course, if you're going to do that, you need to create some great videos. And how do we create great videos? Well, we do that with the help of our good friends over at Movo, who can provide you with all the great things that you need to make your videos look more professional. Things like microphones, lights, stands, and a whole lot more. In fact, they have the great iVlog kits, and gosh, there's probably like 10 of them now, maybe even more. Different versions of the iVlog kit that come with everything that you need. So you can get ones with nice big grips to hold your phone on, and microphones and lights, wireless microphones sometimes they come with a shotgun microphone. Sometimes they come with a different type of stand. You never know. Check out the iVlog kits by heading on over to raiselinks.com/Movo and see all the great products they have for you to make you a better shooter when you're making your videos. And with that, let's hit the music.
And it's the radio show about video marketing madness with Ray, the video guy, and I'm Steve Sleeper. Word, Ray.
Word up.
Yeah. How's it going?
Well, it's going good. But speaking of words, what is a Hulu?
Yeah, what is a Hulu? Isn't it kind of like YouTube TV or streaming service with
I know
bunch
what
of
that
different
is,
networks?
but what the heck is a Hulu?
A Hulu? A hula hoop?
Hulu,
Yeah.
like I don't know.
So we're going to talk about how to
It's like
grow
Verizon. It's a made-up word, I guess.
All right.
Hulu.
You know, before we get into Hulu, though,
Hulu.
one of our clients is knocking them dead with Google ads that Ray's doing. And I think
he's really doing good.
Yeah, he is. I mean, just on the website inquiries, these aren't phone calls. I should look at I haven't looked at the stats on the phone calls, so forgive me. But just on the website inquiries, he's probably getting 60, 50 a month. 50 or 60
I think it was
a month.
much higher. Well, I don't know about what he's picking up as far as closing, but he was getting a couple hundred a month.
Okay.
I mean,
so
it's
that'd
crazy.
be total.
It was like 209 or something like that.
Okay. All right. That would be leads. And you're always watching that. And I think it's a combination of a couple of things. I think it's how you place the ads, and you get help from Google. You got a rep that gets on the phone with you and works.
Oh, yeah. She gets on, and it's always funny because you do all these things and you optimize, and it tells you, hey, your ad is optimized 96% or whatever. And then like 2 weeks later, you look at it and it's like, you're optimized at like 79%. And you're like, okay, what the heck changed between 2 weeks ago and now that this is suddenly not optimized again? So then you go in and you do little tweaks and things like that to get it all optimized again. And it does pretty good. Pretty good.
Well, and I think it's a combination of a couple things. First of all, the ad placement is done correctly, but that if you look at, I'm giving you a pat in the back. Sort of. And but if you look at, there's the Google screened ads across the top of the page, and there'll be like 3 boxes, and it's like Dewey Cheatham and Howe, the Bob law firm, and then there's Big Man Law, and it's a profile of him and being a big man. And I mean, why wouldn't you pick Big Man Law first?
Dang right.
Dang right.
Don't need to have blah 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 on there.
No.
You can have the big man.
And then he shows up in some other places too, but he is
Steve, do you know who Bob Blah Blah is?
No.
You don't
I
know
thought
who
that
Bob
was a
Blah
made up
Blah is?
name.
You've never been to the Bob Blah 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 blog?
No. I need to do that. Bob blah blah blah.
Bob Blah 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 blog.
Okay. Boy, I can't
His
even
name's
say
Bob
it.
Blah Blah. Bob Blah Blah.
Very good. Anyhow. So Hulu.
Hulu. Yeah, it's one of those crazy names like Verizon or Fubo or Roku. Like, what do these things mean? Who the heck knows? But Hulu. If you haven't been to Hulu, if you're from another country, another part of this world, you may not know Hulu nearly as well as you do in the US and I guess in Canada to an extent too. But Hulu is kind of like I was going to say it's kind of like Netflix, but with commercials. But guess what? Sorry, Netflix folks. Guess what's coming to Netflix now? They're going to be having commercials on their videos.
Oh, okay.
It's finally coming, which I'm not surprised. They want to keep the price low, yet make some more money. And quite honestly, poor Netflix, who, gosh, they had, they were pushing up to 100 million subscribers. And, then, of course, Peacock and Disney Plus and the WWE network and the UFC network and Paramount Network and all these other things came out with their own. And so that kind of killed poor Netflix, who was kind of it was Netflix and Hulu and that was pretty much the only games in town. And of course Hulu is actually in probably a better position than Netflix because they actually work with a lot of those network partners, Fox and whatnot, to get the shows out there pretty quickly. And so they're actually in many ways in a better position than Netflix now. Not that we feel bad for Netflix. Netflix is making millions and millions and millions of dollars every single month.
Well, and the thing is, when you come out with something new, your first to market was something, you're going to get competition. They had to be prepared for something like this. Now, let me ask you something, because I've got Philo, which is $20 a month, and it's got history and Discovery and HGTV and things like that. And it goes with networks that don't have, I guess, call them high carriage rates.
Right. Yep.
So it's cheap. It's $20 a month. And the only time I get YouTube TV is during football season. Then I cancel it because I'm just not going to watch much of anything else. Is Hulu kind of like that? Is it a service that carries all the networks, or what's the deal with it?
So, all right. So Hulu is actually a couple of different things.
Okay.
There's Hulu, there's Hulu Plus, and there's Hulu Plus Live. And so Hulu is just like Netflix, except it's much less devoted to movies and more devoted to network TV stuff. And so when you go to Hulu, you can go in
Hulu's more network TV.
Yes, more network, a little more network TV-ish.
Yeah. Okay.
And cable TV and whatnot. But you go into Hulu and you can watch, CBS. CBS puts their stuff up really fast. So the next, like if you normally watch Blue Bloods on Friday and you're not going to be able to watch it on Friday nights anymore, on Saturday, it'll probably be on Hulu already that you can watch the rerun.
So are they streaming live? The network?
That is the Plus Live part. Okay. So if you go with the live, that's very much like YouTube TV. Okay. Where you're basically, instead of subscribing to cable, you're subscribing to Hulu and getting all of those channels live. So Friday at 10 o'clock, when Blue Bloods comes on, you can be watching it live at 10 o'clock. That kind of a thing.
All right. Okay. All right. Cool. I see.
But that's and I used to have that just to test it out. We've got, sadly, I'd love to get rid of it. My wife would love to get rid of it, but my mother-in-law loves her regular TV, so we still have the satellite dish. And of course, quite honestly, if we got rid of the satellite dish, they'd probably just raise our internet rates to where it matched up anyway. So it probably makes not much of a difference anyway. But I would much rather just have, Hulu and Netflix and Peacock and whatnot and Disney and Apple. And
why I had DirecTV? And DirecTV customer service was great until they
probably for the football at one point.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for the Sunday ticket. Well, now it's over at YouTube TV. But
that should be interesting this year to see what they do.
See what's going to happen.
I've never understood it.
And the customer service was just horrible once they sold it to AT&T.
Oh,
They went from the best to the worst. It was just terrible.
yeah, all of those things are usually terrible, but it'll be interesting to see. I've always thought the NFL and the other sports networks as well, but NFL is a little different than Major League Baseball or NHL or NBA in that, because football is so structured and simplistic. And what I mean by that is they don't have, you don't have 160 games. You've got, each team has 16 games. It's very structured. On Sunday, the teams are going to play. Some of them are going to play on Thursday and Monday night or whatever. But for the most part, you got 16 teams and they play each other on Sunday. And it's one game per week. So it's very easy to structure that down from a network standpoint. And to me, what drove me crazy was, and I don't even know what the NFL package is now, like how much they charge for it. It's not cheap, but it's not expensive either. But why wouldn't you allow? See, I don't care about watching the Dallas Cowboys versus the 49ers. I can watch a replay. I don't care about the Vikings versus the Packers. I want to see whatever my team is playing this week. And maybe I'll watch highlights on ESPN or whatever, but realistically, I want to watch my team's game. Why do I need to pay for all the teams? And I'm not going to justify the extra price when I know I'm not going to watch the extra games.
Right.
Why can't you buy your team's package? $10 a month, you get your team's games.
Right.
Because you know what? And they'd say, well, yeah, but we get people to buy the big package. Yeah, but you'd probably get 10 times as many people buying.
It's probably the deal they have with the NFL. It's probably what the NFL wants.
Yeah, and I get that. But why don't they figure this out? That's what I don't get.
I hear you. Well, you know what I do?
Pirate them?
No. I've got NFL Game Pass on my phone.
Yeah.
And so then what you do is you get truncated versions of the game. So you're just, they edit out the space in between.
Right. Yeah. It's snap to snap. And I like that. When I watch, by the way, when I watch my NFL games, usually I don't get to see them live a lot of times on Sunday because I'm not there. And so I come back and I watch them later. And that's exactly what I do. I just go fast forward. Okay, hike, play, fast forward, hike, play, So
well, and so I'm a Bears fan, which is akin to abuse. And last year I would only watch if they won. I watched 3 games, and and then I hear them talking about all this stuff, and I have no clue what they're talking about. There would have been a time I would have watched every game, but I can't do it anymore. Hopefully they're better this year, but that's what happens is then later in the evening, like after 7 o'clock, you'll get the truncated version. And then here in Omaha, we're a big Kansas City market, so we get all the games. We're only a couple hours north of Kansas City. So if I really want to watch a football game Sunday afternoon, I can just turn on the local TV station.
One of the things that we have is we actually sell an online network TV package where instead of watching on your regular TV, it's on your phone or on your iPad, and you can stream it to your TV still. You can, cast it to your TV, but it's a lot cheaper. It's kind of like YouTube TV, where it's a lot cheaper because you're not paying, to have the hardware and the service and all that kind of stuff. And that one actually has all the all the NFL games on there. It actually has the NFL channels, and you can watch the games there. And so that's what I did last year. And that's why I watched the Super Bowl, was through that.
And what was it, on Hulu or?
No, this was not on Hulu. This is on a third party, a platform. XPlay is the app that runs it, and you buy a subscription that puts your live things in there. So you can watch all your live TV stuff, and it's got pay-per-views that are in there and everything else. So.
What's a good one that is free, that's got a whole bunch of channels, is Pluto.
Yeah, Pluto's a good one too.
And I especially like that they have the 24/7 This Old House channel. So,
well, that sounds wonderful. Anyway,
yes, thank you.
Now that we've gone from football into this old house,
I know. I always get us off track.
Here and talk about Hulu itself and why we love Hulu. We love YouTube. We love Hulu. Well, we're obviously not going to be talking, well, we already have, but we're not here to talk about, live TV on Hulu. We're not here to talk about, how do you watch old episodes of this show or that show. We're here to talk about is advertising using the Hulu system, because Hulu has over 100 million ad-supported viewers. And what I mean by that is you can pay for Hulu, which is, I think it just went up, and it's like $7 or $8 a month. And you can buy Hulu Plus, where you pay like $11 or $12 a month. And when you pay that, it removes all the TV commercials.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like Netflix was, where there's no commercials, but you got to pay extra
Mm-hmm.
for that. Well, I actually used to pay the extra to not have the commercials. And I got rid of that and went back because, well, I was interested in the commercials. As annoying as they can be sometimes, I wanted to see the commercials and see what they were doing. So I actually saved a little bit of money by doing that, because I wanted to start running commercials for that. And I saw a while back, I mean, we're talking like 3-4 years ago, where I said, I see this is the future. And we started talking to a lot of the lawyer clients we had, like, hey, you already got commercials. Let's get them on Hulu. Let's do this, because it's going to be very useful. And you can really target things down. And it's got the targeting of like a Google or a YouTube, but with regular television. Now, is it
Mm-hmm.
robust as Google ads? No. Is it as robust as Facebook ads? No. But you can run TV commercials on real TVs in people's living rooms where they're all watching as a family, and you can target down to the zip code where you want it to run. You can target down to the town, the county, the city, the state, whatever you want to target it down as, the whole country if you want. You can target really, really well with that. And you have a lot of other targeting opportunities as well. So for instance, income levels and some of the stuff that you would see in Facebook or Google ads, not nearly as robust, not nearly as many options, but it does have a lot of those in there. So you can choose, who you really want to get your ad out to. So for instance, if you are an auto insurance company locally, and you want to target people in your local town and only your local town, you can run commercials that run to everybody that's 18 or older in your town, because everybody in town that's 18 or older probably needs auto insurance. So you can do that. Now, if it's a product where you're selling women's shoes, well, you could target women in your area, and maybe the women's shoes are for people that are over 30. So you could target women in your town over 30, and those TV ads are only going to run in those households.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike traditional cable, where, when we've got some clients that do some things with Comcast or whatever. Comcast charges a lot of money to cover certain area codes or zip codes, and you don't really have control over that. You're paying for people in the next town over that may never come to your establishment, because they're not going to drive over when there's 5 of them in the other town. So that you're not going to get any business, but you're paying for those eyeballs anyway. Plus with the cable, you don't have, you're limited with your options. It's like, hey, your commercial is going to run on HGTV at 7:00. If nobody's watching it, or if everybody's watching, that's the time it's going to run. That's the station it's going to run on. When you talk about Hulu ads, it's much more, it's an ad serve platform. So when I log in as me onto my Hulu account, and I'm sitting in the living room watching on the 80-inch screen, that commercial is going to be one that's tailored to me as the person logged in, an adult male, over 30, certain household income level, that kind of stuff, neighborhoods, areas. That's what's commercial. And, if my wife logs in to Hulu and she's got her own little account in there in Hulu or whatever, theoretically, it might show her, she watches the same show, it may show her a different commercial, because they know a little bit about who's watching.
Mm-hmm.
The next door neighbor, same thing. They're going to know a little bit about that person. They may see a different commercial. So it's not like your commercial is going to run 7:00 HGTV, no matter what. No, it's going to be served to them based on who they are and the demographic that they hit, so that you see the right commercials. So your commercials are much more targeted than traditional TV at a way, way lower cost, even though, and this is the thing I always laugh about, is even though on Hulu, unlike with a DVR, I can skip the commercials on my DVR. So those people that are on regular cable TV or traditional TV running an ad, they're paying more money for a somewhat untargeted audience who can skip their ads. On Hulu, it's much more targeted. They can't skip the ads, and it's served in a very precise area. So there's a lot more value in a Hulu ad in that case for a whole lot less money. Now, the opposite side of that is chances are people watching traditional TV is probably still higher in your area than Hulu. But with DVRs and all that kind of stuff, is it really? Tough to say. But
Yeah.
Hulu, again, you've got the option to target half your state, your entire state, a quarter of the state, your entire country, half the country, just the Northeast, just the Southwest, whatever you want to do, you can do that. And the great thing about it is when we started with Hulu, and the reason that I mentioned earlier that we talked to the lawyers is when you ran Hulu ads back in the day, you had to commit to $20,000 in ad spend.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, don't get me wrong, that 20,000 could be spread out over 24 months or 20 months or 10 months or 3 months. So you didn't have to pay them $20,000 today or at any point in time, pay them 20,000 unless you wanted to use it all in the same week, which would be pretty crazy. But that can be spread out over months and months and months. You could decide that, but still that $20,000 commitment would scare the heck out of a local plumber, who's got one truck and his kid, is his only employee. They're not going to commit to $20,000. They changed that to $500. Very, very, very reasonable. And again, you're committing to $500. You're not even paying them $500. You're committing to it. You could put that $500 and spread that out over 3 months if you wanted. Wouldn't recommend it. I'd go higher, but you can do that. You can do a $500 ad campaign in your local town and run that over the course of a month. And, you'd get a pretty good number of people watching it. And that's what's really exciting about the Hulu platform is that you can do that for such an inexpensive price. Most of the businesses I talk to are spending more than that on their Google ads already, and they're not on TV. And the pricing is very similar to what I get on YouTube advertising. So with Hulu, we're getting about 3.5 cents per view. They call a view an impression. So don't get confused if you go into Hulu and you see impressions. Impressions means people that saw your commercial. And the other thing too is it doesn't count unless they watch the whole commercial. Now, granted, they could walk out of the room and go to the bathroom, which a lot of people do during commercials, like everybody did growing up before we had all this stuff, but they can't skip the commercial. The commercial has to play. And that's what makes this pretty unique. And even if you leave the room, a lot of times people hit pause during the commercial, they come back, they hit unpause, it's going to finish watching that commercial. And you're only going to be charged when that commercial runs all 30 seconds of it.
You know what this would have been good for, at least at one time? I used to work with a guy that he was the first guy to go to banks and say, if somebody bounces a check, don't send it to check systems. Cover it and charge a fee. Now, back then it was $10. It's probably 50 now. I don't know. But
I think most of them are like 25 or 30 now.
Is it 25 or 30? Okay. I was 50. I was being a little snarky, but back then I think it was $9 or $10. And then what happens is they don't get a charge from because then if they bounced it and sent it to check systems, they got charged 10 by the bank and 10 by check system. Just cover it. And right. And they'll love you for it. And then he had a matrix of how to determine who was a good risk for that, something like that. And then what he said is you want to bring in more accounts like that. So what is called is non-interest income. Okay. And so he said the best way to do this, now this is like late 80s, the best way to do this is direct mail, because you can target around branches. You can target down the carrier route level, and cable TV. Okay. So at one time, I don't know anymore because I haven't been in that business in 13 years, but at one time, this would have been great for a small credit union because
absolutely.
I've got a Liberty Credit Union branch up by my house, and they could just target this neighborhood. And my bank sold out to another bank in Montana, and they just merged with them, and it went from Great Western to First Interstate, went from home office in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, just north of us, to somewhere in Montana, and things are different. People want to change their account and stuff, so you could target that around those locations. And the big question becomes, do people want to go into a branch to open up an account, or will they do it online? I'm an old guy. I'd go into a branch, but
But I have to go into the branch. I would not.
yeah, no, I hear you, but at one time that would have been great. Whether it still is or not, I think there would be an application for it if I mean, at 3.5 cents per review, as long as it's cheap enough, I don't know.
And the great thing is it's very precise and controllable. So you say, I want to do $500 campaign. You're going to be charged $500 at the end of you'll be charged, as it goes along, you'll be charged, $100 here, $200, whatever it happens to be as it runs. But it's going to be $500. You say $500, it's $500. And for $500, they're going to tell you exactly how many times that video is it's going to show I think it's like 14,000 and change times.
Yeah, right. When you were, well, maybe you still do it, I don't know. But was it personal injury attorneys mostly, or
back then it was a lot of we used to do a lot of bankruptcy attorneys, and then it was personal injury later.
Yeah. Right. Okay. See, with the PI attorneys, what's nice about that is they're always doing they just want to get in as many eyes. They're branding ads. They want to get in front of as many eyes as they can, educate them. If you're ever in a wreck, call me,
As we talked about last week with some of the things that the banks were, the personal injury attorneys were doing that were getting them in trouble. So.
Right. Yes. So, and of course I specialize in DUI lawyers, and I don't do it on trade. And
yet
I plan on becoming a drug addict next week, but that was a joke. Yeah. But I wonder with DUI attorneys, if that whole image thing, just getting in front of as many eyeballs as possible for 3.5 cents. We should talk to Joey about it.
I would love to talk to him about that, and Adam and
Adam
too.
The guys that we've got, relationship that we're doing YouTube stuff for. Now, Joey's open to anything, and of course,
sure,
he's a client of yours. So I mean,
of course, the one thing that holds people back from that is you do have to have a 30-second commercial to use, and a lot of people don't have that, and they get a little nervous about that.
But you could crank one out for
oh
them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And attorneys, I mean, the thing about attorneys is they know how to talk. I mean, you give them a script and say, kind of go along these lines, and they're going to do it. They're going to be able to do it.
A lot of the PI attorneys and other types of attorneys, they don't even talk in their commercials. A lot of times commercials are just, words and a voiceover and, some imagery.
I've seen you do, and to call them what I'm going to call them here doesn't do them justice, but slideshow videos. And they look great because you got the graphic skills, you got the video productions, you've got skills.
I hate them, but I agree with you. Yes.
Yeah, no, I think they look fine. I mean, if I tried to do it, they'd look like crap because I'm not a videographer. But and yet I sell YouTube. But but yeah, that would be pretty cool, I think.
Oh, I think it's one of the best advertising opportunities out there that nobody uses yet. You watch Hulu, you're not going to see a lot of local stuff on there yet. You're still going to see, Coke, Ford, Apple, Nissan, Kia, whatever. You're not going to see a lot of local businesses yet. And it's something that they could definitely benefit from.
So do you use the ad manager thing?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, my only concern with banks, going after banks, is they would do it themselves, whereas attorneys are like, no, just take care of it for me. Make a couple of bucks, take care of it for me. Because banks typically have, even small banks and credit unions have a marketing manager or marketing director,
Yeah. Absolutely. We've got one that I work with right out in the parking lot here, and they have, it's just one building, although they do have another building that they do mortgages out of now that they just opened, but they got one building right over here, nice little building. It's a credit union with one location, and they've got a marketing manager.
Yeah, and it's probably well, and back in the day, it would have been a $50 million credit union. It's probably maybe $60 million something in assets.
Sure,
yeah, that's about how big a one branch credit union was, and yet they got a marketing director. What was it? I think you could determine their ad budgets. It would be 5% of assets, or 10 or something. See, 50 million.
I'm not so sure. Most businesses, they say, 10 to 14%, but obviously a bank is a very different animal when it comes to that.
Yeah, it might be 2%. I just don't remember. It's been so long ago, but they're used
to be a lot smaller.
Huh?
It's going to be a lot smaller.
Yeah, it's a smaller percentage. We always went with we'd always start at 500 million in assets, and that's still a pretty small bank. I mean, most of your decent sized community banks are over $1 billion in assets. Now, again, I'm using 2009 numbers, but
yeah.
Anyhow, I digress.
Crazy. But yeah, those would be great. Local car companies would be great for that kind of thing. I mean, there's just so many things you could do. And if you go after the personal injury attorneys for this kind of stuff, if you go after the car companies, chances are they've already got commercials produced for you. You just have to take commercials, convert them, and get them on there, because the toughest part of it is, you have to be a little bit technical, or at least be willing to learn some technical things to get it done. You have to have a certain audio format. You have to have a certain frame rate. You have to have a certain, physical size of the actual video. You've got to have a certain compression ratio, a certain file format. So you got to know these types of things, frame rates, in order to get it right. If you try to upload something that's not correct, it's not going to work. I had one time I uploaded this commercial. I couldn't figure out why. I'm like, why is this thing? It kept kicking it back at me, Come to find out, I looked at it more closely, and the video was 30 seconds in one frame. And so it would not accept it because it was 30 seconds in one frame.
Oh, I see. Okay. So they got pretty tight specs. So that might be why.
Yeah, it's not like YouTube. YouTube, your commercial could be 42 and a half seconds. They don't care.
That's
seconds, 2 minutes,
that's
whatever.
good to know. That's good to know.
Yeah.
So
Hulu is like a hybrid between, a traditional TV network and YouTube, in that they make it easy like YouTube, but they have some of the stringent restrictions, technical specs and things like that a traditional TV network would have. You can't just upload a garbage video and hope that they're going to play it. I haven't tried to upload like just a low quality type video to see if because I'd be interested to see if it's really a crappy video, but it meets their specifications on paper, if they would accept it or not, or if they would still kick it back. I should try that sometime. Just upload a really bad, poor video, but it hits all the actual specs as far as size and compression and all that, but it just looks terrible, and see if they take it. Interesting.
So you've got customers doing that now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. In fact, my poor employees, some of them, they come into work and they're like, I was home last night and turn on TV, and what do I see? I see a commercial for Impossible Escape. I can't get away from the place. Like, well, why would you want to? In fact, I gotta redo commercials now because we've made some changes and things. So commercials a little out of date now, so I gotta redo it. But
hey, how is the escape room doing? We haven't talked about that in a while.
Well, they're back in school. It was doing great.
Oh yeah.
And they went back to school. Can you believe today is August 10th? They've been in school for a week.
Really? Wow.
A week.
I think we start Monday, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. Growing up, I always remember being in school from September to June.
Mm-hmm. We always started. Well, I'm an old guy.
Now it's like they get out earlier in May and they start in the beginning of August.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
We were after Labor Day.
Yeah, that's how it always used to be. It was like
I think it was always the Tuesday after Labor Day, and then we went through the first week of June or something like that.
Yeah,
But
that sounds about right. It sounds about but these guys, they do get, they get a couple of weeks at Christmas time instead of just the normal days off. They get like
we
two and
got
a
a
half
week.
weeks.
Yeah, we got a week.
These guys, they get 2 weeks plus, like, depending on where Christmas falls, they get a couple extra days. And, so they do get some time off there, and some of the vacations are longer and things. So it makes up for it in the end. But man, just going back to school in August, come on.
Yeah, crazy. Well, geez, in Georgia, it's going to be pretty hot for a while. So,
oh my gosh, it's still like 100 degrees.
It's it was 75 here. This morning when I woke up, it was 65. We've had a very moderate summer. I think we had a week or two where it was really hot, and that was it. It's weird,
Yeah. I went out this morning and had to go to a couple things. So I walked. Oh, and I was walking back. Oh, I love it. I love doing that. It's, I've got to do it. I got to do the walking.
Yeah, but you're going to work up a sweat and you're going to look like
not early in the morning like that.
Oh, all right. Okay. All right.
But it started raining as I was coming back. Pouring rain too. Like, I came in. I'm still, like, my jeans are still, it's been hours and they still feel wet and damp after all this time.
Do you wear boxers?
Yes.
Or you just take them off and walk around in your boxers.
Well, yeah, I guess I could do that. People wouldn't care, right?
I'm
here by myself anyway, so.
Are you? Okay.
at least until a few minutes from now, anyway.
A few minutes from now, he's holding down the fort. Or I worked at a place. This is a joke. I'm digressing, but I'm working at a place, and we had the gal that was a receptionist. This was here in Omaha. She was from Long Island. No, she was from Boston. That's right. She was from Boston. And you'd say to her, I forget her name, but Mary, hey, Mary, I'm going to take off now. It was a small place, and it might just be me and Mary there, and everybody else was out doing stuff. And okay, I'll hold down the fort. So we always thought that was funny. She said fart. So park the car. You don't talk like that.
Well, sometimes.
Do you?
Depends.
You're from near Providence, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Believe me, I can fall back into it.
It
happens, like, I used to work with all the people up in Boston. Boston's the worst one. Oh my gosh, it's so hot up. Look, can't you feel how hot it is up here? Holy cow.
It's
wicked hot in the air.
Yeah, that's what's awesome. I used to the Boston Globe. I used to sell them data years ago. And so I'd go in once a year to see them just because I liked Boston, liked it then, I mean, I just like the vibe in Boston. So
you don't have to drive.
Huh?
Well, have to drive.
One of the things I learned, I tried going from the airport to Back Bay in a rental car one time. And don't ever do that. And finally, I called the hotel and said, man, I'm hopelessly lost. And they said, find a cab and follow them. So I did. I got there that way, the cab.
Well, it gets so bad because people think of like New York or Los Angeles with all the people and how the traffic is and everything. What they forget is, you go to Los Angeles, you got highways with 6 and 8 lanes.
Yeah.
You go into Boston or Providence, you've still got highways that are like 2 to 3 lanes.
Yeah.
So you've got 5 million people traveling 2 lanes.
Downtown Boston or, airport to Back Bay, it's not a grid pattern,
No, it's all wagon trails.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Wagon trails that have turned into highways over the
years. It is crazy. So I learned my lesson there. My daughter, who's a school teacher, got funding to take a week-long course related somehow to what she does at Harvard.
Nice.
And then she's got a buddy. I mean, she's got friends and girlfriends in every town. I don't know how she does this, but she has a buddy that lives there in Cambridge. So she stayed with her in Boston. So this girl knew everything in Boston, took her all around to see everything.
Yeah.
And I said, how'd you like? She goes, I really like the vibe there. And I said, that's how I felt when I used to go there.
Yeah. Boston, Providence, Hartford, even
Providence, yeah. And Hartford.
Pittsburgh, they have that same kind of vibe.
That's right. I used to I had clients in each one of those towns. Providence Journal, I remember these names: Boston Globe, Hartford Current,
Yep.
and Pittsburgh Post Gazette. Isn't that amazing? I can remember, and those were data clients, and I'm like, I'm in heaven. And then I had data clients: San Diego Union Tribune, Los Angeles Times, and San Francisco Examiner. I had data clients there. And so that was a great trip as well. And you would say, well, what happened to them? Well, the decline of newspapers, and they just didn't buy data anymore, But I had them for a long time.
The decline in newspapers. My dad worked with the Journal for many years too, still does.
Did he?
And he talks about it. It's like those papers are.
Oh, I know.
Nothing left. Even the Sunday paper is really quite small, and it's all digital now. And
yep.
The Providence Journal used to deliver twice a day.
Yeah, same with the Omaha World Herald. We had a morning and evening.
And now it's just the morning paper. It's thin, and even on Sunday it's not that thick, But hey, that's why we got places like
Sunday used to be Sunday Omaha World Herald used to be this thick. Now it's like this.
Gosh, the Sunday Providence Journal. I mean, it was like phone book thick.
Yeah,
it was huge.
Well,
huge.
I still read the World Herald every day, but it's online. It's just too easy. Now, what I will do on Saturday is I'll go up to the gas station and get a copy of the Saturday World Herald, because I just have, it just feels great to open a newspaper and read it. Not much to it, but their online edition does extremely well. I forget how many clicks they get every day. They used to publish that, and probably still do, but it was adult.
You know what, Steve? Here, let's do something fun.
Okay.
So, they hung up.
Oh no!
I was gonna bring on the air. The crazy people that talk about Google business profiles that call. Literally, they've called 7 times already today.
Oh, that would have been funny.
Fortunately, they're paying a lot of money to call me and have their phone system not work properly, because it hangs up almost every time.
Oh.
I should call them back. We should call them on the air and troll them.
Yeah. Oh, you're good at trolling too.
I trolled the guy a little bit yesterday. I didn't record it though, sadly.
I remember one you recorded, and my wife and I were watching it, and we were in stitches. and I forget everything you said to him, but then at the end, I think he was in India, and you asked him to pray with you.
Yeah.
And my wife and I mean, we were crying. It was so funny, Yep.
But, well, I don't get the fun ones anymore. I get the Google business profile ones and the voice search ones like every day now. I used to get the scam, the straight out scam ones were like, your ID was found in a car with dead bodies on the border of Mexico, and there was drugs in the car.
No
and
kidding.
The CIA was going to be coming and arresting me now if I didn't do this and that. And
oh my goodness.
Yeah, I used to have some great. I recorded those and had some fun. The only sad thing about those recordings was they caught on pretty quick that I was trolling them, and they just played along.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay.
like the guy said, "Oh yeah, no." I said, "Wait, what happened to so and so?" "Oh, he was very upset that you talked to him that way, and he just jumped off the roof."
Yeah, okay. All right.
So
what I do is, and you can't do this because you got a retail location, but I have a Google number that is on the internet. So my GMB and my website and all that kind of stuff into the directories. And then it goes to a cheap cell phone that I bought from Boost Mobile. So I bought the cell phone, which was $150 or something. And then for $15 a month, the calls go through the cell phone. And then I just check it, every now and then to make sure I didn't miss anything. That takes care of that. That is nice. I used to have them going through to my, my big cell phone here, and that was driving me nuts. So that's what I do to defeat the scammers. Well, that's good information about Hulu, though. I really like that.
Like I said, it's very useful, very helpful.
Yeah, maybe we should look at a few marketing campaigns around that. Anyhow, I got me thinking. One of the things that you'll discover if you listen to the show is I start brainstorming with Ray on how we can make money off the stuff he's talking about. So,
that's right.
Which is probably not such a bad thing. The only problem with uploading videos to YouTube for me is I'll go to the customer's channel that I manage, and they'll recommend all kinds of videos for me to watch. And then a half hour later, I upload the video. So I need to be a little more disciplined. I watch
I'm just as bad.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Waiting to start the show today. I was watching legal videos.
Were you? Okay. You like those legal. I should watch more.
I do. I watch a lot of legal videos. I should be a lawyer, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyhow, who helped make this show possible today?
Well, I'll tell you, Steve. Our good friends at Movo help make this show possible. And if you want to make a great video possible, then you need to head on over to raiselinks.com/Movo. Check out all the amazing things that they have for you to make better video. I'm talking things like wireless microphones and wired lapel microphones and desktop microphones for podcasting, stands to hold your smartphone on a tripod, and mini tripods, and all sorts of other great things. LED lights, you name it. They've got it over at Movo, including the iVlog kits, which take your smartphone and turn it into an entire production rig. You can get a whole ton of great things at Movo. Oh, and by the way, they have a new thing. I have not used it yet. I don't have one yet. I'm going to have to see about them sending me one. But what I have, Steve, I don't have it over here. I bought from one of the Chinese sources a wireless lapel microphone, and I did a video on it and everything. And it's, instead of typically you have your little wireless lapel microphone you put on your shirt, and the wire goes to the little box, it goes in your pocket, and then the other one goes on your phone. Well, these new ones that they have, they're pretty small, but the microphone itself is a little bit bigger, and the whole entire transmitter is in the microphone. So you put the little lapel microphone on your lapel, and there's no box attached to it. And, then you plug it into your phone or your smartphone or your camera or what have you. And the one I got was, ready for this? The one I got was $7.
$7. So
$7.
Okay. So you're going to have a little transmitter in the phone. Do you get a receiver to plug into your phone?
So in your phone, you just plug in a little thing that plugs into the side of your phone. It's about, about a half an inch wide and 2 inches tall, and it just plugs into your phone. And the transmitter, like I said, is, so instead of a little teeny tiny lapel mic, the lapel mic is a little bit taller and thicker, but you put that on there, and the transmitter is right in there. Now, was it great? No. If you'd paid $50 for that, you'd probably be going, I don't know. Okay. When you pay $7, and by the way, for $7, I got 2 transmitters. So I've got 2 lapel microphones and the receiver for $7.
Or you can stick the extra one in your ear.
Well, you use that for, second person. So if you were doing an interview or what have you. Okay. The problem that I had with it, the only issue I saw with it was it didn't handle S's very well. So when you would speak, a lot of time with S's, you'd hear like, instead of S. It wasn't awful. It was probably still better than just recording on, your built-in microphone from across the room. But I took it outside, and I went probably 100 feet away, and it worked perfectly. This little tiny $7 microphone. And during the video, I was laughing because I was like, there's no way this is picking me up right now. And it did. It picked me up perfectly. It did a tremendous job. I was really impressed by that. Like I said, the sound quality isn't fantastic, but it's good. Well, Movo just came out with a similar type of thing where it's got the lapel microphone is the transmitter, and it's got the little tiny receiver. So I'm going to have to get my hands on one of those and test that out, because what's great about that is it's so incredibly portable. You can just stick it in your pocket. Now, the one that I have from Movo right now that I use is really tiny, but it's more traditional. It's got a real lapel microphone that has a wire going into the little transmitter, but the transmitter is really tiny and the receiver is really tiny. So it's very portable.
How much is the Movo one, though?
You know what? I'm not even sure. I haven't even looked at the price on that.
Okay, that's it.
I'll have to look it up and see.
We
but
can discuss that later.
It's definitely worth testing out. And I don't even know what they call that new mini one. You see if it's actually on here. If I can see it, I think this is it here. It's right
he found you. Wow, you found it pretty quick. You find all that stuff pretty quick.
I think. So
if you're listening to the audio, Ray's wearing his Rotary shirt today, as he does every Thursday.
That's right. Well, it looks like they got one for starting at 30 through 39.95.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
And then they've got another one here. Okay, that's a regular one there. So yeah, it looks like this is the one here.
Okay.
It looks like this one's a little bit bigger than the one I have though,
Okay.
but it's still pretty small. Anyway,
cool. All right. So
stuff.
Movo.
Check it out. Raiselinks.com/Movo. You can't go wrong when you shoot your videos using Movo.
And with that,
they should pay me for that too.
Yeah. And with that,
let's
play that funky music.
Let's hit the music.